Good day, Bashr.
And to you, good day.
Thank you very much for tricking me into talking to my higher mind.
You are very welcome.
Because that's what I've been wanting.
Yes.
So I do spend time every day being quiet in meditation,
All right.
trying to get my ego mind to shut up.
Oh, all right.
Okay, that only works so well.
Well, this is where the negotiation comes in.
Okay, so speak a little bit more about that.
Well, again, the idea is to know that when you propose a negotiation, that you are proposing something that is fair for everyone, including the ego structure, including the physical mind, including the higher mind, that something can be worked out that will work for all. Now, we understand that there may be a belief system within the physical personality structure that may not trust that, and you may have to work with that a little bit. But that is why we say if in the negotiation you promise to honor the belief systems that are already there that come from the physical mind's fear-based belief, then by honoring it as much as is necessary, then you can prove over time that it is no longer necessary to hold those things to be as true. So you does have to start, in a sense, with giving the physical personality, in a sense, let's say, you have to give it the first win in the negotiation. You follow me?
Okay.
By honoring the belief systems it has created, by validating them and recognizing that from the physical mind's point of view, they are valid. It's only trying to protect you after all. It's protecting itself, but it's protecting you.
Yes.
Because it thinks itself is you.
Yes.
So the idea is that what it's doing, no matter how detrimental it may seem, no matter from what negative place it may seem to come, it's doing it out of love. Making the statement in your negotiation, your opening statement in your negotiation, that you recognize that it's doing what it's doing out of love is the way to begin the negotiation. And then what you're returning with is the idea that what you are also proposing is out of love, because you want the ego to survive and you want it to experience joy in doing its job effortlessly. And therefore, what you're going to propose is a sensibly and reasonably paced unfolding of a change in a negotiation that honors its side, its view, while at the same time also allowing you to prove to it that the changes you are proposing will serve it as well. So it's a win-win situation. But you must start any such negotiation by letting it, in a sense, win its first point, because the ego is all about winning.
Yes.
And when you can teach the ego then that you're interested in a win-win, it will start to relent and grant you some leeway. Then you can work with whatever it is it gives you, and even if you are given a seed, you can expand that and keep expanding that in your future negotiations as you prove, bit by bit, that the old beliefs are no longer necessary for the ego to continue to win. At a certain point, you will cross a threshold in those negotiations where the ego will actually be eager to grant you more and more and more leeway, because it will actually start to feel the burden lighten up on itself. It will actually start to feel more like its true self. It will actually start to stretch out and say, this isn't half bad. Well, in fact, then maybe it is just half bad. But it is working its way to being all good. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Does that help?
Yes, it helps, and I think it may answer the second part, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Oh, all right.
So then when I get the ego to be quiet for a while, then I spend the second part asking questions of my higher mind and then waiting for an answer and writing it down.
You can. Again, remember, it is important during this point to actually use this quiet time to begin a dialogue with your higher mind in whatever way will allow the ego to feel that you're not tricking it.
Give me an example. Do it.
Well,
do the dialogue.
You have to express the idea that you're going to... Are you familiar with the idea? Again, this comes back to the idea of what you call business language. Are you familiar with the idea of full disclosure?
Yes.
Well, that's what you're doing with the ego.
Okay.
You're saying, all right, the first win goes to you. And now, if you will allow me, I'm going to talk a little bit with the higher mind. Is that all right? Of course, the ego will think that you are something else talking to the higher mind, when in fact the higher mind is actually saying that.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
All right, because at first the ego won't recognize you as the higher mind. But when you get the ego to be quiet, you actually start talking to it as the higher mind. But for a while, you may have to pretend that you're not. You may have to pretend to seem to be a neutral party. Maybe you can even pretend you're the negotiator in between the physical mind and the higher mind. The point here is to use your imagination to make that negotiation work in whatever way it seems to work best. But what is important is full disclosure so the ego doesn't feel it's being tricked. And when the ego doesn't feel it's being tricked, the ego will have no reason to trick and sabotage you. So full disclosure is important. All the lessons of what you call win-win business negotiation are applicable to negotiating with the ego structure.
I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashr, I am absolutely excited and delighted to be here with you.
Oh, all right.
Thank you so
and
much.
Good day.
Good day to you. Good day. I have been asking my ego to allow me to exponentially move forward away from what I recognize as limiting belief systems.
And how has it responded?
Well, it's going pretty well. I have
All
big
right.
dreams, but they feel surrounded by limitations. What happens is I get very close
Yes.
to the people and experiences that that might be the ushering me in towards
Yes.
them.
Yes.
And then something recoils and I end
Yes.
up sort of in a cross between dire circumstances and
Yes.
debt and this possibility of amazing
Yes.
things.
That's
So,
because you have set up the negotiation to allow the ego to toy with you.
yeah. It's a mean ego that I've got.
All right.
I'm working
well,
on it.
Again, the idea is to go back to the 0 point. Renegotiate the deal.
Okay.
Don't be so insistent on having a particular kind of expansion. Even the idea of an exponentially expansive, joyful life may not even be involved in the first negotiation. You may not want to enter that arena in the first negotiation. You may just want to start with just a little bit.
But if survival issues are up, that does begin to play into it.
But what we are saying is that if you propose a less aggressive agenda to the ego, it will not feel threatened and survival issues won't arise.
Right.
You see, you may have proposed too much for the ego to handle. You may have said, I want it all or nothing. I want to explode, expand at an exponential rate. And the ego's going, okay. We'll see how far you get. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, there she goes. Oh, yes, expanding. Yank. Yank you right back because you didn't deal with the actual underlying reasons why the ego would feel the need to do that.
So essentially it's still an issue of not being gentle enough with the ego to let it feel it's included in the bargain.
Not being gentle enough and then therefore not being, shall we say, precise enough in your investigation of what the underlying beliefs and definitions were that are creating the ego to be in the state that it's in. Not understanding the ego clearly enough and why it is holding the position in the negotiation that it is. When you understand the ego's motivations, then you can deal with them in the negotiation. You cannot just bargain and run and not understand where the other side is coming from. Otherwise, they'll pull the plug.
I hear you, but I'm trying as hard as I can. So
No, don't
perhaps...
try so hard. Why are you trying so hard? Are you in a hurry to get where you want to go? What kind of energy do you think that puts into a negotiation? Oh, well, you don't really want to be here talking to me. You want to be off having fun in some other place and leave me behind. I don't believe you're sincere in this negotiation, the ego says. You're in too much of a hurry to get where you think you need to go. You're not cherishing my value. You're not staying in the moment, in the present, as if this was the most important thing in your life. I feel unloved and abandoned.
Aww.
And I'm going to get you back for that.
Good
You're
job.
being
Well
mean
done.
to me, so I'm going to be just as mean to you.
Right.
Are you getting the point now?
Yes, I do. I get it so completely. It's just that
It's
how
just that what?
to.
I
It's
just told you.
Okay.
You need to relax and not be so eager to get where you think you need to go. You need to be nowhere more important than right here, right now. Whatever is happening and whatever process is important to go through in forming this dialogue and this negotiation with your ego is the most important thing in your life, and nothing and nowhere is more important to be. Forget about being anywhere else. This is the most exciting thing.
And if I end up on the street corner without a home?
Oh, good way to set yourself up.
Well, it's heading there.
Who is saying that?
Some bastard, man. I'm going to go wrestle with him.
The negative ego is saying that to try and scare you because you've scared it. Don't you understand? That's how it works. If you scare the negative ego, it will scare you back by making you believe. Remember what we said about negative ego reinforcing negative beliefs?
Yes.
So when you scare the negative ego by making it think you're going to abandon it, it will scare you into seeing a future that is one to avoid, so you won't go away. It's covering the reality you could have with a smokescreen, an illusion of a reality you don't want, so you won't move in that direction because it doesn't want you to go. Because you've let it think you're abandoning it. Because you're not treating it with enough respect.
Gotcha.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Sirs. Thank you, my dear.
And you as well, my darling.
Good afternoon, Bashr.
And a you good day.
Long time no speak from my point of view. I do believe it's been 17 years since we spoke. Thank you for being
Oh,
here.
a mere few orbits around your sun.
Friend, I'd like to discuss a little bit further the ego issue regarding second-guessing internal dialogues with spirit and the like. Now, over the years, we discussed when we first met guides and the like and certain things. How, as time's progressed, these communications do occur, but at some of the times, part of myself kicks in and says, it's not happening, it's not a reality, you're fantasizing, you're making it up, you're playing with yourself.
Yes.
So, probably should have worded that better. But with regards to that, how can you be, and I know 100% certain is an objective phrase, but how can you be certain that the dialogues you are having internally aren't just made up? For example, about 12 months ago, laying in bed with my partner, etc., and I put out some thoughts to say hello, and it was either you or you in aspect that dialogued with me, and it wasn't a dialogue, it was a dissertation with 4 topics, and I remember the last comment, you will remember this. So I'm articulating that back to you now to establish whether that was you as an individual or whether that was you in aspect through my own consciousness dialoguing with myself.
It was your own higher self tapping into our frequency and delivering the information in our flavor.
Okay. So in that, then, how can I encourage those interactions
by
ongoingly?
Not needing them to happen.
So letting go of the requirement for them to happen.
Absolutely. All expectation needs to be let go of so that you can simply allow what needs to be there to be there.
Okay.
Paradoxically, by needing something to happen, you fill the space in which the thing can actually occur, and thus there's no room for it to occur.
Okay.
You fill that space with the need for it to happen. No longer having the need for it to happen empties the space, and what needs to happen will happen.
So would that then be a corollary? I've been also putting out requests to the audience, as it were, to interact with you in a dream state.
Yes.
I'm still waiting for the circumstances for that to drop. Would that be sort of the similar thing as the
actually, what you're waiting to do is remember that it's already happened.
Okay, then I'd like to remember that it's occurred. Because
then go ahead.
Well, I don't. I'm uncertain of how to access that memory in this now.
Don't need to.
That's sort of going in a circle for me, and I'm uncertain how to address that, because if you're saying...
Why is it so important for you to access that memory? That's another way of asking you why you need it so much.
Okay, because the only other time that we've interacted on that level was a hoot, and I enjoyed it.
A hoot?
And I enjoyed it. Well, I could use other terms, but I'm...
All right. But does that mean that other things in your life are not as much of a hoot?
Well said, well said.
Perhaps when you add more hooting to your own life. You will increase your vibration to the level on which more hooting will take place.
Indeed, indeed. All right, I just wanted to cover off on those two issues regarding the internal dialogues and how to be able to be certain within yourself that...
Well, again, the first step is not to care one way or another whether you have to be so certain. The idea, again, is to focus on the things that give you joy and just get on about the business of living your life to the best of your capacity in acting on the things that give you passion. And trusting that whatever else you need to know, you will know. And whatever other experiences you need to have, you will have. Remember, you've made appointments, you've made agreements to have certain things happen in certain timing. And the only way you can miss those appointments is by worrying that you will miss those appointments.
Touché.
So, does that help?
It does, brother. It does, brother. Thank you.
All right. I'll see you later.
Ow.